I am blessed this particular evening. Two very beautiful women who are awesome warriors, not only for God and also for country, but also for Donald Trump. They are warriors of the conservative movement. The second in our lineup this particular evening, Kari Donovan, who is a tremendous author and writer and organizer, community organizer that she is, has gotten many individuals in the door of the conservative movement from areas that most would not have even thought. Wild West lead, well, forgive me, Wild East leaning leftists coming to the aid in support of Donald Trump. I want to introduce to some and present to others none other than the great, great Kari, forgive me, Donovan. Kari Donovan, God bless you. It's a tremendous honor to have you on the air with us tonight.
Well, thank you so much. What a lovely introduction. I really appreciate that. And I'm very happy to be speaking with you, one of my favorite people.
Thank you. Checks in the mail.
No, I would do it for free. And you are a great organizer. Well, and I love your activism and your broadcasting and all of the things that you do. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you. And you're going to be a big part of TECN TV when I kidnap you from all that writing that you're doing for all of these great organizations, and hopefully to be the. Well, I won't go into those details. We'll work those out along the way. But Kari, I need to play this clip real quick for people so that they can understand what we're facing in Washington, D.C. Black Lives Matter says that they were threatened by the Trump rally people last week. Let me play this clip real quick.
We begin tonight with this: developments surrounding protests planned on the day Congress counts the Electoral College votes. President Donald Trump tweeting just a short time ago. You see it right there, January 6th. See you in D.C. Now, this comes as Hotel Harrington, the scene of some violent outbursts during the last MAGA rally and hangout spot for white supremacists, announced it will shut down as a precaution. Now, there are demands for other hotels to follow suit. Our Delia Gonzalez is live downtown with the latest. Hey, D.
So the Marriott here in Metro Center, one of a handful of hotels in the area that Black Lives Matter DC now calling to shut down when pro-Trump demonstrators descend on DC.
I became very concerned, not afraid, but concerned.
The call to shut down and the threats that followed. Nene Taylor with Black Lives Matter DC alleges threats have been made towards the group after their demand that several DC area hotels close for inauguration.
Black Lives Matter DC literally stayed at St. Vegas last December the 12th, and we watched the privileged Hyatt that's right there on K Street and the Hilton, Capitol Hilton, give leeway to white supremacists.
The request comes just one day after Hotel Harrington announced it will cancel reservations and close January 5th and 6th. The hotel and Harry's Bar that operates inside became the scene of violent outbursts from extremist groups like the Proud Boys on December 13th. WUSA 9 found several posts on the website Donald Win encouraging supporters to bring guns this inauguration day. We reached out to the administrator of the online forums, but did not hear back. We reached out to several area hotels. The Marriott said they will not close, but in a statement, a spokesperson says, quote, "We are monitoring the situation very closely and have operational and security plans in place."
Your silence is violence.
I spotted some barricade gates on standby outside the downtown hotel and some employees surveying the property. DC police tell me they are not aware of any specific threats. A spokesperson sending over this statement saying, quote, "It is the duty of MPD members to ensure the safety and well-being of all residents, visitors, and demonstrators who come to exercise their First Amendment rights."
They're consenting to DC not being protected.
But Taylor is taking the talk of violence seriously and is now encouraging folks to stay home and stay safe, saying Black Lives Matter DC will not stage counter protests.
We will be totally outnumbered. Their president literally said, he said to stand back and stand by, and this is the stand by.
However, Taylor does tell me that some other groups may intend to defend D.C., as she describes, and counter-protest during the inauguration. She does tell me that they now have issued demands for Mayor Bowser's office to, one, denounce the white supremacists and to also enforce mask wearing and social distancing. We haven't heard from the mayor's office at all today. However, MPD continues to tell us that they are working with local and federal partners and monitoring the situation very closely. That's the very latest here from downtown. Delia Gonzalez, WUSA 9.
All right, Delia, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you all understand that that was serious. That was a very serious story. I know Delia Gonzalez, or however way she says her name, and very social justice oriented reporter that she is on Channel 9. But literally, Black Lives Matter. Hold on now. Black Lives Matter, ladies and gentlemen, who spent the summer rioting, looting, murdering, killing, destroying property. Black Lives Matter is afraid of Trump ralliers. Kari, what say you on this particular subject matter?
Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, I'm not familiar with the reporter, but she made a number of factual errors, and that was concerning to me. She kept referring to it as the inauguration, which this is not the inauguration. I don't know if it was whoever that was. So that's a concern, is that the people have been stirred into a panic, and that makes me sad for them, because we are Americans. We should have a peaceful life. Okay, we shouldn't be dealing with all of this stress and panic and all of this stuff that the media is putting on us. So that's one thing. I don't know if she knew that she was misinformed.
Yeah.
Whoever it was who was speaking. But the thing about social justice is, as a social worker, I try to talk to community organizers and tell them, listen, I was working with Jesse Jackson. I was at the top of the community organizing game when I dropped out. And the reason why I dropped out was I realized that they were a bunch of communists. I literally said, y'all are a bunch of communists, so I'm going to go clean houses with a college degree in community organizing. So I understand the pressure that is on these community organizers. Some of them have college degrees. Some of them have a lot of money and time invested in this social justice stuff, right? Literally on Twitter right now, I have a social justice warrior who's chiming in on my posts and telling me what an idiot I am, and I'm thinking to myself, I actually have a degree in it, okay? That's what an idiot I am. Social justice, right? And the way they get a lot of people involved in the social justice movement who are good, concerned people is they say, well, and this is how they got me, well, don't you want to be a Christian, a good Christian, to help take care of people? I mean, what Christian is going to say no to that? None.
Yeah.
That's our Christianity, and that's our ethos, and that's what we believe is, one of the things that's the meaning of life, right? To take care of people. So on one hand, I can commiserate with the social justice warrior still who's just out there and wants to do good things and help people. Then I get very angry when I hear the misinformation, the panic that is put on people. And you and I know, and probably your listening audience, I'm assuming, knows, that is coming from a group of people who want to take power from the most marginalized people, the ones that we're supposed to be protecting. So how can we get in there and help direct the big elite, power mongers to the small people to steal their power? That's what social justice is.
Yes.
That's the truth. It's the truth.
Exactly.
Stealing power from the most marginalized people.
What I'm terribly amazed at is the ferocity of the verbaso coming from Black Lives Matter, as if they are an itinerant, law-abiding organization, an organization that is virtually a money laundering scheme for the Democrat Marxists of America, Act Blue and other entities being a part of it. Nearly 90% of the people who are in charge of it are white. So I don't know where you get the Black Lives Matter part from. It is a Marxist, anti-patriarchal, anti-constitution, anti-black male organization that's pro-LGBTQRSTUVW at the P at the very end. This organization has done more to destroy communities, and oh my God, what is the phrase? Defund police, and now Black Lives Matter, ironically, is calling on the police to protect them? Oh my!
Oh, that's a good one. I hadn't even thought of that, right? Right there. But I don't want to laugh. I don't want to laugh because I feel sorry for many of them, but it's ridiculous and it's comical, and at this point it's completely hypocritical because the people at the top of the food chain and at the top of the Black Lives Matter are white, and they're white feminists, and that's really the root of a lot of the Marxism that we see that's taking hold of the country. It's because, well, there's a number of reasons why, but it's really a white feminist movement.
Mm-hmm.
And the white feminists know how to use LGBTQ and all of the other things, right?
Yeah.
So if I were a black person, I would be outraged and freaking out that they would be using my situation to better themselves, just like feminism. Feminism, when people start talking about it, really, really, really super-duper offends me. So I do speak out about it all the time, and I have been for a long time and had death threats for it. So, I'm kind of like in the school of thought of, you gotta be willing to take some blows and get out there and save your country.
Exactly.
So I hope that maybe the message starts to get through to some people. Of course, Black Lives Matter. Absolutely, Black Lives Matter. That's not even a question. But they should be pushing back against who it is, who's at the top, who's making the decisions, who's making the money, and who's benefiting from it. Because what black people are benefiting from Black Lives Matter?
I can't think of any. I can't. Well, actually, the lesbian organizers who started the organization, who are driving around in Bentleys right about now. That's the only black people But this ginning up of excitement against Donald Trump and the conservative movement has led to a big announcement tonight that the Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio has been arrested in Washington, D.C. I believe that this is one of those face things for the police. They want to try to show face to the mayor and her Black Lives Matter minions. And so they arrest this young man as he's attempting to get to his room. What news do you have on this tonight, Kari?
So I had seen when it first came across on Twitter is where I see a lot of my news, and I follow a number of dynamics with the Proud Boys. There's a number of things going on that I'm interested in covering, and I just had written an article about the Proud Boys recently. So I have it on my little alerts, and it came across, and Enrique was apparently in a car. He had landed, so he had picked him up. He was driving, he was talking to a reporter, and he told the reporter, hey, sirens were going as the guy was talking, and hey, these cops are here for me, I'm going to get arrested. And so that was the first news that went out, because that guy went to Twitter and started posting about it. Well, so what's happened now over the last couple of hours is there's some more details that have come out. One of them is that Enrique most likely was arrested, but nobody really has like 100% confirmation on that yet, but pretty much, he was arrested. He was arrested, and he had expected to be arrested. So that's another thing that came out of a live video that someone made who had been talking to him. So the Joe Biggs, who's the second in charge of the Proud Boys, had said, listen, they knew that there was a likelihood that he was going to be arrested. But how they did it and why they did it, and they did it right before the 6 o'clock news, because I was watching the news and I saw that the story, the way that they led with the story, right? That's cultural Marxism. That's propaganda, use of this arrest to lead into the news with this story to scare people. So that is really is something interesting to dig in on. But the thing about Enrique is most likely he was arrested, and he was arrested for apparently burning a Black Lives Matter flag from the last rally. Now, isn't that interesting? He didn't actually burn it. He's kind of being the fall guy and taking the consequences. There apparently was a Proud Boy who did, or someone in a Proud Boy shirt, who did burn a Black Lives Matter banner at the last MAGA rally. And that's what he's been arrested for. If, like I said, most likely he's been arrested. So, which is a misdemeanor, and they do expect that he's going to be at the rallies tomorrow and Wednesday.
Exactly. D.C. police confirmed Monday evening that officers have arrested 36-year-old Enrique Tarrio of Miami, Florida. He has been charged with destruction of property related to an offense that occurred on Saturday, December 12, 2020, in the 900 block of 11th Street Northwest. Police say at the time of his arrest, Tarrio was found to be in possession of 2 high-capacity firearm magazines. He has been additionally charged with possession of high-capacity feeding device.
See, so you actually had more information than I had, because I dropped it at that and didn't even go look for more. So good for you.
So basically, this is some Marxists in Washington, D.C. trying to stake a claim to the next 2 days. They want to show that the Marxist regime of Mayor Muriel Bowser, who is so pro-Black Lives Matter, that is spray painted on her gluteus maximus, that, they will not take it from the Trump ralliers. You're not going to be able to urinate. You're not going to be able to eat here. You're not going to be able to drink here. You're not going to be able to sleep here. You're not going to enjoy yourself. You're going to be forced onto the camp grounds of the mall, and you're going to stay there, and it sucks to be you. And what American people don't understand, Kari, is that I live in a Marxist stronghold that happens.
You really do. I've seen the whole Bowser thing over at Black Lives Matter. I was there with Will Johnson the last 2 weeks ago, and the police were protecting the Black Lives Matter from the Trump supporters, so we weren't allowed to go into the area. And it was shocking for someone who's outside of your Marxist utopia over here.
Exactly. And Kari, a lot of people don't understand that when I broadcast from Southeast Washington, D.C., that's my bona fide. Yeah, I'm in Southeast, and it's spelled with an F, not a TH. I live in Southeast. And quite frankly, I'm a conservative, and I'm a stronghold conservative, and I'm as anti-Marxist as you could possibly be. But it is the Marxists that have basically gameplayed this city on Capitol Hill and also in the streets of Washington, D.C. And the greatest thing that ever happened to this city was that you had a president who stood up to the Marxist regime and said, "You're not going to destroy this city. We are not going to be Stephanie Blake's Rawlings. We are not going to be Mayor Muriel Bowser. You're going to shut it down, and you're going to stop those people from burning the city." And
it's really shocking. I had lunch with Star Parker in the summertime, and she was telling me about the night of the riots that went through the the beautiful new area where she was staying. And I think she lives there. She's got a condo there or something. But anyway, it really sounded to me like she was describing, another country.
Yeah.
And I've lived through riots. I lived through the Los Angeles riots.
Yes.
But the way that she was describing it and how they had gone through these very, elite, upscale retail stores. That's on the other side of town from you, but there's just something about the way she was describing it that was so foreign.
Mm-hmm. It's Banana Republic. It is a banana republic here in Washington, D.C. People don't understand how close to a Marxist society we have gotten, whether it be San Francisco or Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, New York, or Washington, D.C., or Baltimore, or St. Louis. These are Marxist regimes that are building and growing their provinces and are expanding more so than even the revolutionary period.
And I don't mean to interrupt you.
No,
but
go ahead.
As you're talking, I'm thinking about why is that? Why did these Marxist movements take place so easily in places like Washington, D.C.? And it's because I think I just had a revelation while you were talking. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I'm glad you did.
Community organizing is based on this organizing the smallest group possible in the beginning, right? And so you go into the community center and you start agitating people in those small community centers, and you get those people to go and agitate people as community leaders, right? And then those community leaders, and so on. It's like the old shampoo commercial, and then they get two friends, and then so on and so on and so on, right?
Yeah.
And so here in DC, it's very odd because everything is sort of like, here's this one little community here, and here's another little community over here, where it's not like that all around the United States. So some of the charm of these cute little neighborhoods and things actually is a problem when it comes to why is it that DC in general is a Marxist, has been taken over by these Marxists, and it's because that's, I think, why. I got to look into that some more.
Exactly. We're talking tonight with Kari Donovan, an extremely tremendous writer, and someone that will be working with us in the new year to bring about a revolution. And so I want to talk with you about revolution tonight, because we've gone over the big story about Proud Boys, and that for those of you who will be coming to Washington, D.C. over the next 2 days, I tell everyone right now, read Code 45 of the District Code of Law. Anything that is not listed in Code 45, you should be able to bring with you and protect yourself. I am not so foolish as to believe the Black Lives Matter people will not be present, nor Antifa won't be present, because they fear you. They don't fear you. In fact, they wish to agitate you so that they can get their bona fides, and so that they can start the arrest process going for people and get the mainstream media, their propaganda arm, to report that you as rally people are either A, too weak to defend yourself, and so you're punks. That's what the street takes. Or B, that you are so monolithically Philistine that you believe that you have the right to destroy anything and everybody around you. So those are the two narratives that they are putting out about you right now. You should forget about trying to worry about whether they're right or wrong. You need to be able to defend yourself. And after 6 p.m. in D.C., I'm going to be honest with you. I know the National Guard will be there, but let me just put it frankly with you. The National Guard was there when things were burning down too. You're on your own. You need to protect yourself. Make certain that you stay with your group. If you don't stay with your group, if you want to eat outside, I don't want you to take that risk. But if you want to eat outside, make certain that you have a Louisville Slugger with you. Make it your cane. There you go. But revolution, Kari. Did I say anything that was offensive there, Kari? At all?
To me or to a Marxist?
Because, I know these people. They sit around the barbershop and they talk about all the heads they want to knock off. Do you really think they come in there to peaceably contest your contesting? Are you crazy? Please stop.
Yeah. In a couple of the rallies, they've come out and they're so obviously stirring for a fight, and they want you to take the first punch. Of course, they want to aggravate. So
yeah, just ignore
them.
But
get your butt inside where it's safe too. Don't stand out in the riots. It's very strange. I could talk about revolution. I mean, you might get me talking about the night that I was here on the real inauguration.
Yeah, would you please, so that people have a point of reference. Unfortunately, anytime I speak, it's with great charisma, and people think that I'm just storytelling just to keep people awake.
Well, no, I mean the first inauguration. I was here for the deplorable, and I had spent the day walking around trying to find where the left was organizing, and I had found through a series of post somewhere where they had talked about being in a church, and so I went to the church, and the video is still up on my Facebook page, and I was recording them while they were in training. And what, people are like, training for what? If they're there to protest, what are they training for? Well, they were training to basically annoy people, agitate them, to get them to take a punch, and then what to do afterwards. They were having a training in a church, a group of 100, leftists, and they had advertised it ahead of time, because that's what they usually do. They always kind of tell you what they're going to do. And I had gone in and I videotaped some of it. It's on my Facebook page. Anyway, that evening was the deplorable, which was a party at the press club.
Yes.
And I was taking a cab from the hotel in Georgetown to the press club, and the guy had to drop me off because he couldn't go all the way. The streets were closed, kind of like what they do now. And so I had to walk, I don't know, maybe 4 blocks or so.
Yeah.
So he took me to a cab, dropped me off, and then I had to walk the rest of the way. Well, I had a long dress on. Oh, that's right, you went with me.
Yes, I did.
And then I met my friend Ken. Too. Okay, so, but before that, Ken, I don't think I ever even told you about what happened. I was in the street and watching, and they had been threatening, the left had been threatening that they were going to come there that night and that they were going to do something. And I flash back to what, they're going to be sitting in a church doing trainings or what. At that point, I hadn't actually been in the middle of a disturbance like that. I had walked around, gotten out of the way during the LA riots, but I'd never really been caught up in it. Well, I was walking to the press club to meet you, actually.
Yeah.
And I got caught up in, all of a sudden, an uprising happened around me. So this group of, I want to call them banshees. They were so bizarre, and it was like they're detached in a way from humanity. They look different, they act different, they walk different. They are very ingrained with, they are at war, they are in a conflict, they are going to, they have strategies. This is a war to them, right?
Yeah.
They are, yeah, they're an army, they're a militia or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking, and all of a sudden this thing just kind of pops up around me, and I started taking pictures, and I'm looking, and I'm so kind of shocked about what I'm seeing. It's dispiriting, it's depressing, it's, in a way, it's interesting because it's something that you're not used to as an American seeing. This group of people who are yelling bizarre things, and they're very angry and frustrating. You just sense it, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember I was standing there, and somebody very tall came by and goes, "Kari, you don't know who I am. Get out right now." And I looked up at him and I went, "Oh, wow." And it was an undercover FBI agent. And I just said, okay, and I just walked, and I left, and I got out, and all of a sudden, they started throwing things at the police. They had firecrackers, they had little Molotov, cocktails, whatever, bombs, and the urine, and they started splashing people, and they started freaking out. I had just gotten out of that. You might have come in after that a little bit.
Yeah, I did, and to be honest with you, I was coming in from the exact opposite side of where you came in. And the police noticed who I was, and they said to me, you got that cowboy hat on, you need to follow where we're pointing to. And I was like, I'm not worried at all about anywhere that I go, because they're not going to bother me. And the cops looked at me like I was freaking crazy, but I'm honest about that. I'm not concerned. They're not going to bother me. And they didn't bother me. They were scared to death.
From the point of view of the police, they're very detached from, these are not normal people.
Exactly. They aren't. but I'm used to that in DC. So
okay, yeah, that makes your point, doesn't it? You really are it. You know how to operate in this kind of Marxist, what they think is a Marxist utopia.
Exactly. But Kari, you point out something that's important here. For me, I live here. I know the street rats as well as I know the rats in other places in the high lofts. So I'm not concerned about my life. I never really came home and told my story, Kari. Thank you for outing me. Now I will have to deal with Mrs. Biggs on this one. But but the truth.
Well, I had gotten 3 tickets
exactly.
to the event, and they were selling at that time. They were selling so fast.
Exactly.
And I had grabbed 3 tickets, and I thought, who can I invite to come with me, who I know will network like crazy, because it will be this, it's all these at the beginning.
Yeah.
This is back at his first inauguration, right?
Exactly.
And who will make hay while the sun shines? Who will make a lot of contacts for themselves?
Yep.
And I knew that you were just doing great things with your podcasting and your journalism, and had great plans to do things. So I gave one to you, and one to my friend Michael LaPaglia.
Yes.
He came also in a cowboy hat. Now I don't know if you two ever even ended up meeting each other or not. He came also in a cowboy hat.
Exactly. I think we took a picture together with our cowboy. He had a.
Did you? And I was like, you didn't end up running into each other still.
Yeah, he had a black Stetson on, and I had mine, and it was like, wow, we're the only guys here with Stetsons. So
funny. And of course, both my guests. Excuse me, that means I have good taste. But it's like the scary thing is, in a way, I wish that people would experience what we're talking about, the scary part, because then they would know why we're so fired up to fight it, because it is not America, it's not freedom, it's not liberty, it's frightening, and we cannot let it. I want to wipe it out here in DC. Why should this town was built to support the Republic?
Exactly. And one of the things I want to mention to you tonight, and this is why I'm glad that you're here, Kari Donovan, who has experience as a community organizer, as well as a conservative Leviathan, is the whole concept here. A lot of Americans don't understand what's happening on Capitol Hill, and that the stronghold of the Marxists, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, the socialists, are really coveting the 6th of January as their day where they strike down the Constitution. When you have an individual that stands up and prays a man, a woman, this is the mindset of individuals on Capitol Hill right now. They want to expand Marxism beyond Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, Dallas, L.A.
Yeah. And they have wanted that for a very long time, for decades. And we've been talking about it. I've been talking about it for, 25 years. You've been talking about it for how long?
Yeah.
Probably the same amount of time or longer. We've known as a culture that there is a communist infiltration for, 50, 60 years?
Exactly.
And Americans are so slow, they don't want to do anything until they're in pain. Right? We're just going to give it another chance, or we don't really know what we're talking about, or whatever, and now we're completely confronted with it. So the good news is that we're completely confronted with it, and people are in pain, so they're finally waking up and believing that this is actually, yes, it is the Communist Party. Like when I was a kid, I grew up outside of Detroit. If you called somebody a communist, that was a fight. That was a fight.
Fight words.
Right? We were like, the communists were the worst possible. A socialist was pretty bad. That was still, you shouldn't call anybody a socialist.
Exactly.
And now, look at where we are, where it's full blown. This is the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP.
Exactly. I asked Jane in the early hour, and she stated that she's going to tell people that they need to be focused. Before they go back home, they just need to be focused on influencing their congressional leader to make the right decision regarding the Electoral College. While you're here, just focus on that. But you and I both know that those lizards on Capitol Hill and snakes have already figured out what they plan on doing to interrupt the Constitution. So
because it is their stated goal. They've been working at it for a very long time, and that's why you see them not be ashamed whatsoever when they get caught, because they don't really care. They are on a mission.
Exactly. So what say you in this regard, Kari? When people get back on those buses and get back in their pickup trucks and fly back to wherever they are, or Amtrak their way back to wherever they are, what should they do when they get home? I've said they need to take over their local GOP. What say you?
I'm with you. We take over the local GOP, and there's a number of, that's a whole hour's discussion, but I'm with you. Take over the local GOP and also think of running for office.
There you go. You need to find the most conservative individual possible at this point. It's kind of like Donald Trump in Detroit. What in the hell do you have to lose? You got nothing to lose. You already got the rhinos in charge of the GOP. You got nothing to lose. You need to go right ahead.
I've been posting a lot about the GOP because I'm completely at this point frustrated and done with them. I've been trying for 14 years, and the NC GOP, North Carolina GOP, I've been working with them for 14 years, begging them, please let me do everything for free. I'll work for free, but what you have to understand is there's a populist movement out there, and if you just would embrace it, you could win a whole bunch of stuff, right? So I finally have gotten to the point where I've given up, but for the last 4 years, I've been saying, join the GOP and become precinct leaders and do all of this and take it over. I was on that track for a while, and I have given up, but I do still think it is the smartest thing because the machinery is there.
Thank you.
We have to have two parties at least, and exactly right. The machinery is already there. If we could just get a hold of it and get the Marxists out of the party, because I think that some of them are stupid, but I think many of them are actually leftists. They really are part of it. Like Paul Ryan, I've always thought was a Marxist because he's married to a Marxist. So how is a Marxist going to be married to a non-Marxist?
Yeah, you know. It's like, who do you want to make happy in your household? Donald Trump or your wife? I think we're going to go with wife. We're going to go with wife. Listen, Kari, you're in town. You're going to be covering things downtown. I want you to protect yourself, you and as well, Jane. I want y'all to be protected by all measure. But I also want you to have a very significant role in 2021 through 2022 at TECN TV. I'm not going to lie. I've never been very fork-tongued on my own channel. We need citizen journalism like we never needed it before, because journalism in America doesn't exist. Yellow journalism does, but not real journalism. And we need citizen journalists in all of those particular areas that I mentioned: Dallas, Chicago, Atlanta, Washington, Baltimore, New York.
Yeah, we especially need them in the Marxist areas, and I'm with you on this, Ken. You and I, we could just geek out about the citizen journalism for so long. I want citizen journalists in every school board meeting in the United States.
There you go.
But let's start with, especially the Marxist strongholds, because for what works for the community organizer can work for the citizen journalist. Mm-hmm. And so those people who are in areas like DC who think, yeah, but who can I reach? 50 people, 100 people? Yeah, bingo, right there. You start to do that, you reach 50 people or 100 people in a place like Washington, DC, where you are so divided up into these little communities, you're going to start making an impact, and then you can build a network, and it goes from there. And citizen journalism, the idea that a person like me, I am a citizen journalist, and I tell people I might be one of the most successful actual pure citizen journalists in the world, because here's a citizen journalist, somebody who's what? I never went to school for journalism. I don't even know the rules of journalism, and you don't have to.
And quite frankly, the rule of journalism, real journalism is this: pursue the truth at all costs. The rule of yellow journalism is pursue the propagandists because they pay you. So, that's the way
it can really change the tide when I start to think about, I've been retweeted now by the President of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
My articles have been retweeted by the President. Now, he retweets a number of people. Sure, he does. In a country of, 360 million people, I'm sorry, but that is very telling for a citizen journalist to get an article retweeted by the President of the United States.
Exactly. And
that's the power that we have as citizens. Yeah.
Kari, we love you and we thank God for you and what you do. We're going to be looking forward to your work at TECN TV, and greater details will come forward. But this is a citizen journalist news channel. It will not die after Donald Trump. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, well, and it can't. And by the way, take a lesson from you, Ken. We have a lot of things to learn as citizen journalists. Like, how did you get that press release so fast from the police department? We always are learning, right? Because I'm like, this was it. I saw this thing and it was alive, and the guy's like, that's all the information. I'm like, okay, great. So the good thing about citizen journalism is you don't have to be perfect to keep going. So I can't wait to talk about it with you some more.
Listen, I'm looking forward to it, talking with you and also Jane. And I know for a fact that, listen, it's great to have an OANN, it's great to have an NTD, it's great, but they are working with individuals who have been paid in other areas at Fox and so on to distort the news. We want citizen journalists who are going to pursue the truth any way possible, even if it means to exploit the frailties of the GOP, at the same time exploiting the frailties of the Marxist movement. But we're looking for citizen journalists. That's it, bar none. And it's not going to always be pretty. You're not going to always have your rouge on or your lipstick, but you darn well are going to be reporting the news, and America needs the news right now. They don't need another puff story about Joe Biden and Jill Biden and whether you call her doctor or not.
Right. No. I mean, and that's the fun thing about the citizen journalism is that you can really get in there and whatever your sort of agenda is, right? You can really get in there and deliver some throat punches against your opponent with citizen journalism. So it's fun too, fighting for freedom and having fun.
There you
That's
go.
what it's all about.
There you go. And you also get coupons from the local giant. There you go. No, you don't. You don't. You don't. Ladies and gentlemen,
you can have fun. So
you can have fun.
I'm glad to have this platform with you to reach out to some new people and hopefully encourage them, and maybe we're going to get some, very powerful journalists out of it. And wouldn't that be awesome and good for America?
Wouldn't it be? TECN TV is going to change a lot of lives. Ladies and gentlemen, Kari Donovan, one of those changers of life changers right here. Kari Donovan, we love you. Thank you.
Well, I just love you. Big hugs. I can't wait to talk to you some more.
Likewise.
Bye.
See, bye. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is why board meetings here at TECN are so great. People actually love talking with me. I'm just joking. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk right after this.